expression you use now?
Andy
Were you
Harris.
embarrassed? Is that
No,
what
it said Andy Harris said that you didn't adequately convince enough people to vote for the bill. The House Freedom Caucus.
you mean after this speech?
After this speech, that's
Oh,
what she
yeah, I think
said.
so. Well, why don't we see how the vote is? I think it was a great talk. It wasn't a speech. We talked about things. Who do you work for?
Notice.
Who?
Notice.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Hold on, Andy.
You gotta get yourself a real job. Let me tell you. I think we have unbelievable unity. I think we're going to get everything we want, and I think we're going to have a great victory. And this man has done a great job. And I think this was a tremendous session. You may want to say something.
Yeah, it was a great meeting. The party is unified. The House Republican Conference is excited. Multiple standing ovations. They love this president. The people back home love what he's doing. It's historic, and everybody understands the scope and the meaning of this. If we do not accomplish this mission, every one of you, all the American people, are going to have the highest tax increase that you've ever had. And among the debt ceiling cliff that's approaching and all the other problems, this is the bill to do it. I think we're going to get it done, Mr. President.
The Democrats want to raise your taxes. If this doesn't work, if this doesn't get the numbers that the Republicans want, and I think it does, I think it's all Republican vote, the Democrats are going to be raising your taxes by 68%. And they will not do we're going to have an 85% cut in drug costs. 85% cut in drug costs. The Democrats, the drug prices are going to go up. I can't imagine a Democrat not voting for this. I think the Democrats, if they don't vote for it, that means they're voting for an increase in drug prices. Think of that, versus an 80 to an 85, maybe 75, but could be an 85% cut in drug costs. Okay.
Mr. President, will you need to reach out to individual members? Will you need to make a pitch to individual members?
I don't think so. No, that's what I did today.
President,
That's really what we did today. I think it was a really great. That was a meeting of love. Let me tell you, that was love in that room. There was no shouting. I think it was a meeting of love. There were a couple of things that we talked about specifically where some people felt a little bit one way or the other, not a big deal. And I covered them. It wasn't so much a speech. I covered certain points. And I think I'd be very surprised.
You told them you were losing patience.
No, I didn't tell. Who told you I said I'm losing
That's what we
patience?
heard inside the room.
But it's a lie. Wait a minute. Wait. Who told you that?
We heard from people inside the room.
Oh,
not
really?
true.
It's totally true. I never used the term. I didn't say losing. I didn't even talk about it. In fact, it's the opposite. I think we're going to get it done. I'm not losing patience. We're ahead of schedule. Anybody that told you that is a liar. I never mentioned. Wait a minute. I never mentioned the word losing patience because I'm not losing patience. We're ahead of schedule.
That's why I asked you. I want to get
Well, but why don't you go back to your source and tell them they're liars if the source even exists?
Mr.
Bill
President.
passes the House.
Yeah.
Senators are already talking about making a number of changes. over
Sure.
their chamber.
Always
Is
have.
that okay?
Yeah.
Or do you want them to swallow
Yeah.
this bill?
In some cases, they have things that I like even better. No, it always happens. There'll be some changes.
Mr. President.
John Thune and Mike have been very closely aligned on this. They've been moving it up together.
Mr. President,
Apparently you said don't ask with Medicaid. Apparently you did say in the room. There is some concern among some Republicans, including Senator Josh Hawley, that this could impact benefits and that could be amount to a hidden tax on the.
I didn't say. Here's what I said.
I'm wondering if you're.
Here's what I said. You want to hear what I said?
Those members who are
I
worried
said
about blowback
waste,
for supporting this bill.
fraud, and abuse for Medicaid. If you find waste or fraud or abuse, we want to strengthen Medicaid. We want to strengthen Medicare. Waste, fraud, and abuse. The Democrats will let illegals be on. They'll destroy it. It will be destroyed. They want to have illegal immigrants be on. And if you do that, because it wasn't designed for that. Waste, fraud, and
Can
abuse.
you guarantee that your voters who supported the election, particularly working class voters, will not lose health insurance under this bill?
Oh, they won't lose health insurance. Not only that, remember, I'm cutting drug prices by 85%. And right now, I'm saving it. I'm saving the whole thing because I did something that nobody was willing to do. Other countries pay a tiny fraction what we do. And I instituted favored nations. We're now going to pay the lowest in the world. We're going to be the equivalent of the lowest country in the world. People go to London, they go to Canada, they go to other countries, many other countries, because they want to buy their pharmaceutical products, their drugs, at a fraction of the cost. Now we're going to have the lowest cost anywhere in the world, and nobody else would do that but me. And that might be an election by itself, might be election winning. Now, when you add that in, when you put that into Medicaid and Medicare, we've just strengthened Medicare and Medicaid. And the Democrats won't do that. You know why? Because they're taken care of by the drug companies. And the ones that are taken care of are hard line. Some Republicans get money from drug companies, and that's okay, because they're okay with it. I talked about it. The drug companies take care of everybody. It's the biggest lobby, most powerful lobby in the world. There's no lobby like that. But the Republicans are okay with it. Not only okay with it, they love it. It was time. So we're going to cut drug prices from 75 to 85, in some cases even more than that. You know, I was telling the story that, and some of you were at that news conference. I gave a news conference where I was the first one in 18 years to cut drug costs for the year. And they were like a quarter of a point to half a point less. And I was very proud of that. Now I'm cutting them by 80, 85%, because I stopped the scam. This was a scam between the middlemen and the drug companies. This was a giant scam. And by the way, and other countries, because other countries fought for this. This was a giant scam, and we're not going to have it. So remember this. Go back and tell your people, if you'd like to, that the Republican Party is cutting the cost of drugs by as much as 85%. Not 8%, not 5%, not 1%, 85%. And you're going to have the lowest drug prices anywhere in the world, because I'm doing favored nations. And it's all done. I signed it. And the Democrats will unsign it, and the drug prices are going to go up. And I think on that issue alone, you can't lose an election.
Mr. President, say that your DOJ is weaponizing it with the arrest of a congresswoman, Democratic congresswoman.
Oh, give me a break. Did you see her? She was out of control.
Did you address
You know, those days are over.
Did
The
you
days
tell her
of
to do
woke.
that?
The days of woke. No, I didn't. The days of woke are over. That woman, I have no idea who she is. That woman was out of control. She was shoving federal agents. She was out of control. The days of that crap are over in this country. We're going to have law and order.
Mr. President, thank you very much. You campaigned on lowering the price of groceries. How will you justify cutting food assistance in this bill?
Let me just tell you, the cut is going to give everybody much more food, because prices are coming way down. Groceries are down. Eggs. You told me about eggs. You asked me a question about eggs my first week. You said eggs. I said, I just got here. Tell me about eggs. And it was going through the roof. You know that eggs now are way down. Everybody's buying eggs. Groceries down. Energy's down. Gasoline is now they're buying gasoline now for $1.99. If you look back, you'll see $3.50, $4. This country, we're going to lose this country. Our country now is respected all over the world. All over the world we're respected. We were a laughing stock. The entire world we were a laughing stock. I went to the Middle East, and those rulers of those three countries are very powerful people, very big people, very rich people. They respect our country again. China was going to take them over. You know, China was going to get they were going to get into the, if you look, Saudi Arabia, you take a little look what was happening with Qatar, UAE, great people, unbelievable leaders, but they were abandoned by this country. And they're not going to China anymore. They love us, we love them. We're going to take care of them, and they're going to take care of us. We came back with $5.1 trillion. Trillion. Every other president would have come back having spent $5.1 trillion as usual. And remember this, we were losing $5 billion a day under the past administration. I have to be a little careful the way I talk, because there's a lot of anger about that administration. And by the way, the real question, who ran the auto pen? Okay, who ran the auto pen? Because the things that were signed illegally, in my opinion. I think we've just proved that. But our country is respected again. All over the world we're respected. We were laughed at 7 months ago. Then you had November 5th, and our country is respected again. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for
really a meeting of unity. We had tremendous unity. There's a lot of love in the room, and I think we're going to have a big victory.
What do you know that Republicans don't support this bill?
I think anybody that didn't support it as a Republican, I would consider to be a fool. It's a great bill. It's a great bill for America, more importantly. Thank you very much, everybody.
How involved are you going to be in terms of whipping up the vote? Are you going to be calling them?
I think we're in good shape. I don't know, I can't tell you that, but this was a meeting of love. There's great unity in that room, and it's the biggest tax cut in American history. And if it doesn't pass, everybody's going to get a 68% tax increase. I don't know how you beat that. Also, one other thing, you're going to get an 85% reduction in drugs. 85% reduction, not 1/4%, not an increase. The Democrats, you're going to pay 25% more for drugs. With me, because of what I've instituted, favored nations, the people of America, it's about time, going to get an 85% reduction. They're going to be paying the lowest price in the world.
How important is this for your agenda? You've been able to do a lot through executive action. How important is it to have this piece of legislation for your agenda and your legacy?
It's very important. It's important for the country. It's not important for me. It's important for the country. This is the greatest bill that will ever, I think it's the most important bill this country just about has ever done in terms of size and scope. That's why we call it the great, big, beautiful deal. I mean, it really is. The bill is, I think it's going to be one of the most important. It's the biggest tax reduction in history, biggest regulation reduction in history. Incredible for Medicaid, for Medicare. The only thing, we're going to leave it exactly as it was, other than for obviously waste, fraud, and abuse. We're strengthening it. We're going to make these things even stronger. The Democrats are going to destroy Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. And we're going to keep them, but even make them stronger.
How are the talks going?
Say it?
Those new sanctions on Russia like the EU is?
Well, we're looking at a lot of things, but we'll see. I had a very good talk yesterday with President Putin. We'll see how that comes out. They're talking right now. We'll see how.
Are you planning to meet? Are you going to meet?
Say it?
What about Pope Leo? Why the Vatican, sir, for the negotiation? Why you suggested that?
No, Pope Leo suggested it, and if he'd like to have the talks at the Vatican, I can't think of a better place. I like it. This is a pretty good place too, come to
Do
think
you
of
like
it.
this American Pope?
But I think I like him. Yeah, I like the Pope, and I like the Pope's brother. You know, one of the Pope's brothers, actually both of them, but one in particular is a major MAGA fan. Did you know that? He lives in Florida. He's got MAGA. He's got Trump. And I look forward to getting him to the White House. I want to shake his hand. I want to give him a big hug. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.